once again. As you know, I'm not the biggest into romance when it comes to fictional stuff. Real life romance I'm fine with. Not in terms of shows or whatnot, I mean between me and my girlfriend or whatever. But on that note, yeah, I'm just not really into it. That could be possible because I've been ruined doing the stupid shipping wars that always happen where everyone has to be the worst around each other because of shipping. It's awful. Let's just say I was in an anime club at one time, and this one lady was awful. Who would not shut up about her ships and how they are the one true blah, 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 because Yuri, whatever. It kind of ruined some stuff for me. Like, it's like, oh, you don't care about anything else. You just care about the ship. It's one of the main reasons I could never get into shipping or whatever, because some people just get so angry about it. Ugh. But yeah, other than that, romance and Transformers, not really something I ever think about with Transformers, but then again, I was a little kid when any of this, so it never really came up to me of all things. But yeah, of course we're going to look into this, and as always, if you guys want us to watch more, you have to like, comment, subscribe. You have to do all three of those things. Because yeah, that's what motivates me. Also, I will tell you this, I'm doing this at a point where work is trying to kill me. So, if you want to watch more Transformers content from us, head over to the Patreon. Support me over there. Everything there is $1, but if you want support for more, there's some higher tiers. Those are completely optional though, but they do help me out and make it so that I can keep watching stuff with you guys. Anyway, we're going to head into this. As always, support Chris McFeely, because he is a great guy and he does great things for the Transformers community. And let's go in. The video didn't want to start for a minute, yeah.
Hey, you're watching Transformers The Basics.
Why is he
this one
talking
goes
like
out
this?
to all the lovers out there.
Oh
In
my
celebration
God.
of Valentine's Day, these are the basics
Ah,
on the
that's why
history
it's this
of
episode.
Transformer romance.
Romance. Why am I talking like this?
Love has always been a part of the world of the Transformers. As fictional
Really?
characters created by human beings, Transformers have always exhibited very human behaviors, consistently depicted as living beings with souls
I
and
like
feelings.
this kind of
Social
stuff going
creatures
on.
who form all types of interpersonal connections and emotional bonds with one another, including romantic ones.
Those are some
Transformers
weird
don't
designs.
sexually reproduce, which tends to be the main rationale in any argument that claims it doesn't make sense for their robotic race to feel love. But Transformers has never been the kind of hard sci-fi story that worries about evolutionary...
Yeah, I don't... It's not exactly like Transformers is hard sci-fi, where they worry about every little detail. This isn't 40K, people. We're just going in to say if these robots love each other. Why? Well, they just do. They feel the love. They're not doing it to reproduce, obviously. They can't do that, as far as I know.
logistics like that. And anyway, sex and love are different things.
True.
Social asexual beings can feel romantic love and desire partnership and closeness too.
That
If
is
they
also
can
true.
hate each other enough to wage a war for 4 million years, there's no reason Transformers can't love each other as well.
That raises a good point, yeah. That's honestly the best point in favor of the whole romance thing.
Of course, it's most common for Transformers to fall in love with one another, but there have been many romances that have crossed species lines and
Really?
seen Transformers fall for humans, aliens, and more.
I mean, you'll only know of one.
The very first Transformers
Yeah,
love
this.
story was
I heard
told
for
in the
Sea Spray.
original animated series, in the 1985 episode, Sea Change.
Sea
This
Spray.
adventure saw the Autobot Sea Spray fall in love with Alana, a member of the alien Tlalocons, a race of shape changers who used a magic pool known as the Well of Transformation to alter their bodies into whatever form they desired. To prove to Alana
Yeah,
that
I
he was a
remember this.
living being with a feeling heart and
Aw.
not just a machine, Sea Spray braved the
prove
waters
his
of the whale
love
and
for
used
her.
it to transform himself into a Tlalocon so the pair could be together.
That's still
Sadly,
sweet to
an
do
attack
that.
by the Decepticons forced Seaspray to return to his robot form, and Alana used the whale to temporarily turn herself into a robot to fight alongside him.
I wonder
But
if there's
in the
any
end, the
toys
pair
of-
realized
there
that their
probably wasn't.
outsides didn't
It's
matter,
been a while.
as long as they felt the same way about each other inside.
Aw,
Just a
that's
few
sweet.
episodes later, the cartoon would introduce the first female Autobots, and in the
Yeah.
process established the first actual Transformer couples. Powerglide and Moonracer,
Interesting.
Chromia and Ironhide, Firestar and Inferno, and
Cool.
of course, Optimus Prime and
Alita
Elita
1,
whose relationship began in their younger days, when they were known as Orion Pax and Ariel.
Yeah.
Other famous romances seen in the series included The Girl Who Loved Powerglide,
In which heiress
Really?
Astoria Carlton Ritz became smitten with Powerglide after he rescued her from the Decepticons.
Oh,
And the many loves of the
wouldn't
female...
that be cheating considering he already has a girlfriend? But, maybe I'm just thinking too into this, like, old 80s cartoon. That's probably it, let's be honest here. I'm thinking a little too deep into this, I know.
Autobot RC. She was introduced in The Transformers the
Oh,
movie
yeah.
as having
RC.
a mutual attraction to Hot Rod. But in subsequent episodes of the cartoon, she was instead shown in a relationship with Springer, while the Japanese sequel series, The Headmasters, paired her with Chrome Dome.
They really love to give RC different people to love. I guess they just want to give her somebody to love. Or, I think maybe the reason why is because they wanted to show that character more, and having them have a love interest helps with that or something, or to show her more? I don't know. I'm trying to realize why they give her so many different romantic partners. But, yeah.
Since its cartoon debut, robot romance has been a common sight in Transformers media.
Huh.
1989's Transformers Victory manga introduced the first
I like her design
Decepticon
here.
couple, Deathsaurus and his wife Esmeralda.
I kind of like that. Just suddenly, yeah, the Decepticons also love. Yes, I have my wife. She is lovely. You won't bow before. I don't remember much about Deathsaurus. We watched the whole video on him, and he was very cool that he does care for his troops. But what is that? How he would treat his wife? You know, being extremely lovey-dovey and saying how great he loves her. Because I'm thinking of the way, you know, Columbo talks about how great his wife is. I'm going off on a weird tangent, but I'm glad you guys at least like my weird tangents. That's something,
Many significant plot developments in 1996's Beast Wars hinged on the story of love across the battle lines between Predacon bad girl Black Arachnia and chivalrous Maximal Silverbolt.
I need to watch the video.
Beast Wars also featured a romance between Maximal's Tigatron and Air Razor.
Interesting.
And sequel series Beast Machines paired up Rat Trap and Botanica.
Who?
Japanese spin-off Beast Wars Second based several episodes around a comedic love triangle that involved Maximal Bison Bighorn having an unrequited crush on the Seacon Scylla, who only had eyes for Bighorn's teammate, Scuba. Transformers Cybertron featured love-crazed Decepticon Thunderblast, who lusted after anyone big and powerful, while Transformers Animated explored the Batman and Catwoman-like relationship between the series versions of Optimus.
I'll admit, I always did kind of like the like Black Cat, Spider-Man, Catwoman, Batman sort of thing. I don't know why. This always seemed kind of cool to me. I don't really know why, but yeah, that's my main reason.
Prime and Black Arachnia.
Yeah.
Human and Transformer romance is a bit rarer, but even the original Marvel comic book featured a few instances of it, such as when Skids almost ran away from the war to spend his life with cowgirl Charlene, or when the Dinobot Sludge became infatuated with reporter Joey Meadows.
Really?
Modern examples have featured in 2006's Kiss Players, which depicted a young Marissa Fairborn as having a crush on Optimus Prime, and 2014's Transformers vs. G.I. Joe, which saw Autobot Brawn and G.I. Joe Covergirl fall in love, get married, and even use biotechnology to conceive a child.
Whoa!
Transformers have even been known to mistakenly
crazy.
get the hots for ordinary machines. Robots in Disguise Sideburn, in particular, was famous for the way the sleek lines of a little red sports car could set his engine revving. No, that's just a
I mean, the one thing is with that is they thought they were Transformers too, so I it makes more sense. It's supposed to be a silly, funny joke, but yes.
Short list. There are many more examples too numerous to name, and more
Really?
still that exist only in
How many are there? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You know what I mean? And Ultraman just goes, "No. What do you mean? I'm too busy filing these business reports for the team." But yeah. I didn't realize Transformer romance was so ingrained. Like, not Transformer human, just romance in general. Huh. I guess it's just something, well, as a kid or older on, I just never would have picked up on or realized all that much. It's not like something I would have focused on.
implication and subtext.
But these are just the male and female couples. As
Oh,
a
we're
children's franchise that's had to abide by certain rules for much of its life, same gender attraction among Transformers has been historically rare.
Interesting.
In fact, the first same gender couple actually occurred by accident.
Huh.
Unaware that Air Razor and Tigatron were going to become romantically linked in the series, the Japanese dub of Beast Wars changed Air Razor's gender from female to male. Initially,
Really?
the dub reworked the early flirtations between the characters into something completely different, reimagining Tigatron as a samurai and Air Razor as his ward. But when the pair got indisputably romantic, the show couldn't work around it anymore and just had to roll with it.
Certain characters,
That-
such as
I guess that just makes them gay in Japan? That feels strange. I wonder why they changed them to be male. I am actually curious why the Japanese decided to do that. On another note, interesting. I mean, it's understandable that since a kid's cartoon and being how long it's run back in the way, that same-sex romanticization would be extremely rare. It's not that surprising.
Starscream from Beast Wars 2nd, Arcadis from Beast Wars Neo,
And Knockout from Transformers Prime
Oh, yeah, I
have all
heard
been
about
written
them.
as stereotypically gay-coded men, vain and campy and regularly played for comedy. But the only such character to actually display genuine same-gender romantic interest in another was the Decepticon Mirage from Transformers Energon, who was in love with his leader, Galvatron. Perhaps most audaciously, the Japanese dub of Beast Machines transformed the character of Nightcream, previously an angsty teenager in the original version of the show, into a flamboyant caricature based on Japanese comedian Masaki Sumatani's character,
I have no
Hard
idea.
Gay.
I've never heard
Thankfully,
of him.
gay representation in Transformers was eventually elevated above this.
Oh yeah, I was just going to ask. We are watching Beast Wars over on the Patreon if you guys ever want to look at that as well. That and G1. Eventually, do you guys want us to watch Beast Machines? It's really up to you guys. One way or another.
This level by IDW Publishing's comic books, which in 2012 introduced the first intentionally gay couple in Transformers
first
history.
intentionally
in
gay
Chrome
couple.
and Rewind. You see, early in the IDW
Intentionally.
universe's life, writer
I
Simon
don't know
Furman
why
established that
I don't know why the first intentionally gay couple, because they have a few accidental gay couples. It's just like I don't know why that's funny to me. It's just, yes, they're accidentally gay, like that somehow that can be an anyway.
Cybertron's population was made up entirely of male-coded robots. Later writers built upon this to establish that if the planet was all one gender, it therefore stood to reason that same-gender relationships would be the norm on the planet.
True.
Female Transformers would later be revealed to exist on Cybertron's colony worlds, but this didn't change anything. Same-gender relationships were common on the colonies, and many native Cybertronians, having grown up with no knowledge of the concept, didn't
Okay, what does he say? So that whole thing being called she thing about Okay.
even really understand
trap.
what different genders were, and therefore didn't consider gender a factor in a potential romantic partner. Other notable relationships featured in IDW's comics included the star-crossed saga of Cyclonus and Tailgate,
Really?
the franchise's first lesbian couple Greenlight and Lancer,
I have no idea who those
Aileron
are.
and RC, Anode and Lug, and Drift and Ratchet, to name just a few. The comics also revisited relationships from past series, like Tigatron and Airraiser, and even afforded Knockout the chance to be depicted as openly gay and in a relationship with his assistant from the cartoon, Breakdown. Following the strides IDW made, the Transformers Collectors Club introduced a few same-gender couples in their stories, such as Predacons Bazooka and Crazy Bolt, and the
Okay, I was just gonna go back. I'm guessing the first one's Bazooka, but I really like his design. Not just because he's an Ankylosaurus, my favorite dinosaur.
couples in their stories, such as Predacons Bazooka and Crazy Bolt, and the Shattered Glass incarnations of Windblade and Strongarm. For much of the brand's lifespan, Transformers' physical expressions of love have typically been limited to embracing and hand-holding. Historically, kissing between Transformers has tended to be only implied rather than shown. Other than Ariel giving Orion Pax a peck on the cheek, cartoons tend only to show the act in a comedic context. For moments of romance, it's typically obscured or interrupted, or otherwise kept off screen. On the other hand, some stories have had the Transformers express confusion when they see humans kissing. As recently as 2015's Robots in Disguise, Autobots were shown to...
Well, that's interesting, because they are aliens, so it's not like they have the same mannerisms in order to express affection as humans would. It more or less gives an interesting idea of, well, how would Transformers differently express affection to one another than humans would? Than an organic being would? This raises an interesting question. How would they if you were, like, trying to change it up? Thoughts down in the comments. I am curious.
be
This is
puzzled by the
scientific
concept.
curiosity.
Why are they smashing their mouths together?
It was IDW who depicted the first visual, unambiguous, played straight, on-the-mouth kiss between Transformers when RC planted one on Aileron in 2018.
I don't know who Aileron is.
Terminology to describe Transformer couples has been surprisingly limited. We've heard human terms like girlfriend and boyfriend and husband and wife, and Cybertronian terms like sparkmate and life bond partner have been used in a few scattered instances.
IDW coined conjunx endura as a formal term for a Transformer's significant other, roughly comparable to a human spouse. Though, as noted, the comics would feature several such relationships, it's been observed that, in the grand sweep of things, they're rather rare, and most Transformers go through life without ever finding that special someone.
That's, well...
Though it's been around since
I mean, they live a lot longer than any human does, so they got a lot longer chances to find any partner that they would need or want, really, than any of us do.
Since the beginning of the franchise, robot romance has never been more celebrated in Transformers stories than in the last few years, with even a Valentine's Day special having just arrived from IDW this week. While they're most famous as war machines, make no mistake, Transformers are just as good at being love machines, too.
Love machines. Don't call them love machines.
And those are the
it makes me
basics
think
on
of something
love
else.
in Transformers. Go make a hot date with the comments section and tell me about some of your favorite Transformer couples. And remember, today is about celebrating love, okay? Show some love yourself by giving the like button a click and
Celebrating
subscribing
love.
for more history and lore
It
from
did
the
light
world.
up. Damn, they finally got to work. But yeah. I mean, look, you always ask me, MacWolf, can love bloom on the battlefield? And I say no, stop with that. But on a more serious note, it's interesting that I'm thinking about this, but yeah, I'm thinking of how would Cybertronians exactly show affection different than humans do? Like, to show that they are quite literally attracted to one another or have a bond mate. Like, in what ways could... You know what? I had an idea! the combining ability. What if two ones that are together were able to combine more easily? Thoughts to think about. Huh. I think that's a good idea. If they ever want to really use the roaming pond, why not have them be able combined or be created as weapons to defend their loved ones? I like this idea. Thank you all so much, though. If you like what I'm doing here, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye-bye, and take care of yourselves.